never believed in ghosts. To me, they were stories told around campfires or plot points in horror movies. But that all changed the night I drove down Oahu's Old Pali Highway. It was supposed to be a routine business trip. I had a meeting on the other side of the island and took the rental car out for the drive. I'd heard of the legends surrounding the Old Pali Highway, how ancient Hawaiian warriors were said to have died there, how spirits were seen wandering the road at night, but I brushed it off as superstitious nonsense. The night started clear, with a full moon lighting the way. I figured I'd save some time and take the old route, despite my GPS warning against it. The road snaked through the mountains, twisting and turning in ways that made me grip the wheel a little tighter. Then the mist rolled in. At first, it was thin, just a light fog. But as I drove deeper into the mountains, the mist thickened, swallowing up the car. I turned on my high beams, but they barely cut through the haze. The road was slick, the curves sharper than I remembered. My heart rate picked up as my car skidded slightly around one of the bends. That's when I saw it. A woman, standing at the side of the road. She was dressed in white, her long dark hair hanging loose around her shoulders. I slammed on the brakes, the car screeching to a halt just a few feet in front of her. My breath caught in my throat as she stared at me with hollow eyes. She didn't move. I rolled down the window, hesitating, but managed to ask, "Are you okay?" She didn't answer, just kept staring. I had two options: stay in the car or get out. Against my better judgment, I opened the door, stepping out onto the wet asphalt. The air was cold, unnaturally cold for Hawaii. "Do you need help?" I asked, my voice shaking. Without a word, she turned and began walking down the road. Every instinct told me to get back in the car and drive, but something about her felt compelling. I couldn't just leave her, so I followed her. The mist grew even thicker, and soon, I could barely see the woman in front of me. Her figure seemed to blur and waver, like she wasn't entirely there. Suddenly, she stopped. We stood at the edge of a steep cliff. The mist thinned for a moment, revealing the deep drop below, the rocks jagged and unforgiving. My heart raced as I realized where we were. This was the spot where, according to legend, Hawaiian warriors had driven their enemies over the cliff to their deaths. The woman turned to face me, her hollow eyes locking onto mine. For the first time, she spoke. "You shouldn't have come." My blood ran cold. Her voice wasn't normal. It was layered, as though multiple voices spoke through her at once. Men, women, old, young. And then she vanished. I gasped, stumbling backward. I sprinted back to my car, the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. But when I got in, the mist had thickened again, and the car wouldn't start. The air inside felt oppressive, heavy. I could feel something watching me, unseen eyes boring into the back of my skull. Panicking, I tried the ignition again and again. Finally, with a shudder, the engine roared to life. I peeled out, speeding down the winding road, desperate to escape. But the mist didn't let up. I glanced in the rearview mirror, and my heart dropped. The woman was in the back seat. Her hollow eyes stared into mine through the mirror. Her mouth twisted into a silent scream. I slammed the brakes, skidding to a stop. When I turned around, she was gone. I didn't take any more chances. I sped the rest of the way down the highway, not caring about the sharp turns or the slick road. When I finally reached the city lights on the other side, I pulled into a gas station and just sat there, shaking. I told myself it was just my imagination, that I was tired, that the mist had played tricks on me. But deep down, I knew what I had seen. I had driven down the most haunted highway in Hawaii, and I wasn't the first to encounter her. I've never taken that road again, and I've heard others tell similar stories. The woman in white, the cold mist, the feeling of being watched. They all say the same thing. You shouldn't go looking for the dead, because they just might find you.